I've never been a flag waver. I've never had any kind of penchant or predilection or predisposition for the flag, including the American flag. I used to always joke that there was an inverse proportionality between regarding a person's intellect, IQ, or knowledge of American history and the size of their American flag lapel pin. I thought it was the last bastion of the scoundrel, and who was it who said they'll be wrapped in a flag, or Upston Sinclair or somebody anyway. But I've never been one to do that. I always I wondered about this. I'm not one for vexillology and flags. I thought, what is this thing that we have in our country regarding the flag? A lot of other countries didn't really do that. I remember reading this piece by Levy, this the supposed French intellectual, who said that there's a it's almost it almost became a fetish, and that in other countries a flag is important, like in the Olympics and things like that. But and we have this thing about where we people say we died for the flag. No, we died for the Constitution. It's the Constitution. So anyway, so that's where I was. That's where I was. Well, that's changed right now, because in my lifetime, I have never felt ever that we were under such attack in terms of our sovereignty. Not from somebody else, not from Putin or Xi Jinping or Kim Jong Un, but internally from this radical left cancer. I know this sounds almost cliched. I mean 100% of what I'm saying. I do not fear China, Russia, North Korea. I don't fear them. I respect them. I want to keep an eye on them. I don't fear NATO. I don't fear, again, I'm concerned. I fear this element in this country. Whatever this is, this cancer, this metastatic, radical left, nihilistic, I don't know who these people are. This intel state, police state, shadow government, ruling class. I don't know who they are. This globalist cabal, this cancer that has taken over our way of thinking. And when I try to explain to folks my problem with Ukraine, I'm saying Russia made a statement. It said, you are not going to put a NATO country, Ukraine in particular, on our border. It's just not going to happen. That's our red line. That's our whatever you want to call it. Like we did in 1962 when we almost went to war with Russia because of their desire to have as a satellite, as a proxy, so to speak, and as a storage center for nuclear weapons, Cuba, which was 90 miles away. And we herald and we laud the power and the determination and the statement of courage on the part of JFK. Well, when Russia does it, that's different. That's different. Well, it's not different. And then all of a sudden, they took this Borat, this Chauncey Gardner from nowhere, put on a dirty green T-shirt, pulled him out. This is a guy who was playing the piano in a most unique way. And all of a sudden, this guy became the darling of not just the left, but the supposed right. Carol Quigley was absolutely right. This left-right paradigm was destroyed, two sides of the same coin. And all of a sudden, Borat comes out of nowhere. And I have to listen to this absolute tripe from this fellow. Listen to that's not. Oh, we'll get to him in a moment. This is the fellow I want to talk to. Listen to this guy.
So I'd like to say
Right off the bat. I'm so sorry for that. Listen carefully to this mannequin, this, I don't know what the word is, this fellow out of nowhere, this guy that all of a sudden he's the voice of something. Listen to our friend, Mr. Zelensky. Just a second here.
For the bipartisan support. And I'd like to say thanks to Speaker Johnson and President Biden. Indeed, it is so important, this support from the United States of America. And
let me say this again. Let's play this. I want to thank Johnson. Thank Johnson and Biden? Why?
First of all, I'd like to say thanks to the Congress for the bipartisan support. And I'd like to say thanks to Speaker Johnson and President Biden. Indeed, it is so important, this support from the United States of America.
So I can line my pockets. I could be a billionaire. I can take care of my family in estates and in villas and in compounds, maybe in Cyprus or Qatar or Miami. I want to thank you for this, because in a couple of years, you won't be hearing from me anymore. And I am this central casting pretend spokesperson for a cause nobody can understand.
Of course, it's the support of the American people, because, of course, the political decisions depend on the public opinion. And this aid will strengthen Ukraine.
Meanwhile, I am in New York City, and I am now facing congestion pricing, and I'm going to have to pay money to go out of a garage and go down the street, because New York State and my country does not have enough money for roads. But we're giving billions to this guy for reasons I don't understand. And he doesn't care. They prop him up. Here is the part that also just gets me. This is the part that kills me. Listen to this one. Watch the flags. Look at this on the left. Ukrainian flags. Isn't that Ukraine, not USA, Ukraine. How about a closer look? Utterly, absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. One more time. Let's go back. Check this out. I watch it. Matt Gaetz is standing there, and and I'm not a huge Matt Gaetz fan, but he's absolutely correct. Say, what is going on here? What is going on here? You know, it's funny. Whenever my wife and I drive, we can always tell when we're in Trump country because there's an American flag. You will never see a Democrat ever put an American flag on their front lawn or their house. You'll see a Ukrainian flag. You'll see BLM stickers, trust the science, no place for hate. I'm trying to think of all that George Floyd nonsense. An American flag never is antithetical to who they are. That's a sign of nationalism and nativism and racism. You'll never see an American flag, but you'll see Ukrainian flag talking about democracy. And when I talk to people, and when I talk to most of my friends, and by the way, a lot of these folks are from the left or the right, they're indistinguishable. The same thing goes on with Israel or Ukraine, or there's indistinguishable. There's no debate. And when it comes to Ukraine, I'm saying, but what about the democracy? What about the individuals? What about the Azov battalion? What about the right sector? What about neo-Nazis? What about the fact that not interested? And the real reason is they don't know anything. They don't know anything. But here is the guy. This is the one that to me is the best of the best of the best. This is the guy that I absolutely just went berserk over. This is Mr. Connolly, I believe, from Mr. Connolly from Virginia. And this is the one where I thought I was going to lose it. And I don't know if I've showed you this before, but if I haven't, you're going to have to watch it again.
Some say, well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border. It's the border between depraved autocracy and freedom-loving people seeking our democratic way of life.
What about the depraved, marauding hordes of some folks who know a level of criminality you have not seen before? I don't want to sound, dare I say, oh, God forbid, xenophobic. But when you have marauding hordes, passels, waves of humanity, of people and by people and from people living in parts of the world that know nothing even remotely, knowing privation and deprivation and poverty and horrors, the likes of which we will never see. You are talking about the 27 Yankees of absolute criminality. People who will do things and are capable of doing things that you will never see in this country again. And this guy's talking about depravity?
Do we have a stake in that outcome? Yes.
How? Never tells you, does he?
Undeniably, yes.
How? He never tells you, does he? He never tells you.
Some say, well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border.
So let me just explain something again. Let me see if I can put this into perspective and see if I can maybe, without trying to beat the dead horse, if this does not shake you to the core, remember, it's not this guy. He's a guy he's the shill. He's being paid. Look, the days of statesmen. Do you think he really thinks this? Do you think the good people of Virginia, honest to God, care about the Russian-Ukrainian border? Do you really think that? No, of course not. Now, we have no reason to believe this, but would you be surprised if he's got a nice, cushy directorship at some, I don't know, defense company, maybe upon his retirement or something, or some type of creative financing for his campaigns and his exploratory committees? You know, these folks who suspend their race. It's wonderful how the rules provide that these folks can have all kinds of stuff in their, how do I say this? For example, you want to run exploratory office. You can't take the money directly, but your offices and your travel and your staff and hotels and administrative costs, which you can get really creative. I mean, it really pays off. There was a time in this country when you went to Congress and you didn't make any money and you left. You were kind of like Harry Truman, who had his World War I pension and drove back to independence. I mean, it's almost quaint. You see people like Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters and Biden become multi-millionaires, and they've never left government service ever. And it's obvious, but Americans don't care, because a lot of times this is kind of an apathetic thing, like, oh, whatever. And it's also the inability to focus. I call it the Kate Middleton effect. Kate Middleton could be dead for all we know. She could be in a coma. She could be on life support, but we just stopped talking about her. That's simple. We just stopped talking about it. And you're going to stop talking about this, because it's time for you to move on. And if you think somebody in your delegation, if you think somebody in your caucus is going to bring this to the public's attention, you're out of your mind. I'm going to say this again, my friends. Democrats love Ukraine, but hate American sovereignty. Do you think that's an exaggeration? It's not. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do, I beg, beseech, implore, and importune you to comment as you see fit.